So in the last video, I kind of touched on the topic of self-esteem as it relates to having a disability. And well, the way that I felt that my disability, or in my cerebral palsy, played a huge role in the fact that I have really low self-esteem. I want to say that having extremely strict and overbearing parents definitely played a key role in that as well. My parents are Mexican, and as is typical in our culture, we're expected to blindly obey um, our parents without questioning, without talking back. I would describe it as like a mixture of having respect and fearing your parents at the same time. And I really feel that that in itself affected my ability to assert myself and to speak particularly to figures of authority, whether it be teachers, professors, doctors, police officers, just any figure of authority. I have a really hard time asserting myself, um, maintaining eye contact when I'm speaking to them. I tend to get really nervous. That really comes as a side effect of having strict and overbearing parents like I did. As for them being overbearing, I can't really say that I blame them or that I could have done any better had I been in their shoes. Because, like I mentioned previously, my parents are immigrants and they migrated over to the United States to try to find better treatment for my condition. And they found a specialist for me. They took me to physical therapy. They attended all my IEP meetings. They did the best they could despite, the language barrier and whatnot. But they were extremely overbearing, overprotective, very judgmental of what little friends I actually did make while I was growing up. There were other adults around me as well that not only were they overbearing, but they tended to underestimate me. For example, my PE teachers growing up, I remember in high school and middle school, I was never required to run the mile, even though I could run. Yeah, it would, probably take me longer and it'd be more work for me, but I was never expected to. I was never even asked to because my teachers just automatically assumed that I couldn't do it. So they never required that of me. They didn't ask if I wanted to or if I could. They just said, you can just sit this out or you can walk around the track. And being the angsty kind of emotional teenager that I was at the time, well, I wasn't going to argue with them. If they didn't think that I could do it in the first place, then what was the point in proving myself? And I know that probably wasn't the best mentality to have now that I look back at it. I think that a major part of your self-esteem is really confidence, and the confidence that you gain from knowing that you are capable and knowing that you are autonomous. And because I never really got a chance to prove myself to myself because my parents and other adults around me were so overprotective, I feel like I never gained that sense of confidence in myself and in my abilities to do things. And that's, I think, a big part of the reason why my confidence is so low. I mean, yes, the bullying has a lot to do with it, but I think that this issue of never being able to prove myself to myself, to feel competent, has really stuck with me. I mean, I think it's one of the main reasons why I don't drive yet, because I get major anxiety whenever I'm behind the wheel, and I tend to feel I tend to get lost and disoriented really easily. And I don't know if that really has anything to do with my CP or if it's just my anxiety kind of taking over. But there's a lot of things like driving that I feel that I just can't do, that I'm just not confident in myself, in my ability to be able to learn to drive. And I think that that again goes back to um, never really gaining a sense of autonomy when I was younger. And I don't know that, I mean, physically, I know that I'm capable of driving, but mentally, there's like just something is stopping me, like something is blocking me from having that mindset and from being able to drive because I still haven't been able to do it. Another area that I really see this issue pop up in my life is when I try to speak to other adults, like particularly even in job interviews and stuff like that. Even though I know that I'm also an adult, because I feel incompetent, um, I feel like they're somehow above me, which really kind of affects my ability to communicate with them and kind of assert myself and get my point across. I don't know how else to explain that feeling, just that overall feeling of incompetence in almost every area of my life. That's all I can really think of to say for now. I will be back later.